Okay, so when you get ready to get started, the only directions you're going to get is you're going to have to go to www.alacarte.com, and then you're going to pull out the toolbox welding cart kit on the instruction side, and it will give you 15 pages of everything you need on how to put this together correctly. It's really simple. It's really basic. If you've never done stuff like this before, I suggest you read everything and go from there. Alright, let me get set up and we'll start putting this thing together. Alright, so this is what I have now. I know it looks horrible, but it got rusty on me. It started spotting, as you can see. These are the main 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4 that you're going to put together on this bottle tray. And then we'll go from there. So now we're getting started on the ZTfab bottle plate, the 2 sides, and the main brace for the rear that's going to sit under this part, and it's going to support the bottles with the strength of this being so thick, I assume. You're probably wondering why it looks like this. It rusted on me. This is what happens when you leave it exposed to your environment, whether there's humidity. They will start to spot rust on you. I will show you what it looked like starting here. So here's what happened, and here's what I bought it for. I have the ZTfab US General bottle holder to convert the toolbox into a welding cart. I let it sit out for 3 days, and this is what happens when you leave it out in humidity. It instantly rusts. This doesn't have anything to do with ZTfab. They actually tell you in the instructions, if you don't paint it, it's going to rust immediately. So that's exactly what happened. So I got a video coming up where I'm going to TIG this out. I was just going to leave it like this and TIG it, and I said, man, nobody's going to want to see me. It just looks stupid like that. So I'm going to clean it all up, make it look brand new again, and then I'm going to do a detail of how I TIG it out, and that's it. So because of this, and because I left it out of the box, I had to buy that, and I had to buy that. So let me do a quick demonstration of how well it works. Hopefully it works well, and then we'll go from there. And let's go. ZTfab US General welding cart kit. This is all going to be put together with the Everlast 255 EXT. There's nothing special about that. It's just what I'm using, and let's get this rolling. Alright, so we're just going to start with the base here and your sides. Obviously these are going, this guy goes to this side and this guy goes to this side. You want to clean off the areas that you're going to weld on, which is basically going to be your edges. Anything that's going to be tacked or welded, let's just say, you also want to leave an edge on this when you're putting it together. You're going to end up putting a tack here, here, and here, and one on the back side just to hold it. I'll show you how that's going to be done once I get to that point, but this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to start with one side at a time, then I'll put this side on, and then I will get the brace on, and that's just going to get tacked up. That way we can set it on the machine to make sure everything is good. Once it's all good, and it's not the machine, it's going to be the toolbox. Once it's good, then we can go ahead and do a weld all around the edges and fillet welds on the inside which is what ZTfab calls for, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do out the whole edge out on these, and then maybe an inch or two on this side, an inch or two on that side. I might do it from the inside here. I don't know, I haven't got to that point yet. And then you are going to want to tack it right there. You're going to tack that, and you're going to tack it on the inside, right along the edge here. Okay, so let me get set up on that real quick. Alright, when you do your tack welds, you're going to want to have an open corner joint. So you're going to want to have this sticking out just a bit, so you have an open corner joint, just like that. Okay, so you're going to want to put a tack here, here, I would say here, and here, and then your last one will be up here. And these are through the instructions of ZTfab. Okay, so what I did was I lifted it up on its side, and what I'm going to do, so I can get the edge of this to come up, is I am going to prop it up with one of these. And you can see your edge is up all the way here, all the way down, all the way to the edge. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tack weld this corner right here. Make sure that's in. Alright, so you get your open corner joint right where it's supposed to be. That's what it calls for per the instructions. And let's tack it. So I got the camera like completely right in front of this, which is really hard for me to hold it, so let me restart. Give me a second. Alright, here we go again. Alright, so now we're going to do the little two bottom tacks that go here and here. And then we're going to go to the top part. Alright, so now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the gap out of here. So we got to compress this together. So I got a good old trusty clamp. I'm going to put one end here, one end here. Tighten it down. Put more on. That ain't going to work. Now it's not like you need a lot of pressure, so you just need a little bit of pressure on this. And so that's not going to work. You put this little rubber cap on so it'll give it some grip. Come on. There we go. There do is I'm going to tilt it up on its side, and maybe I can TIG weld it from there. Let me tilt it on its side, see if it's easier so I can get it on the inside. Alright, so you can see with the little gap here, it's closed off with the clamp. So I'm going to hit it one time on the corner here, and it's as much as high as I can right there. And just put a tack so that I can get the other side going. Alright, so what I did just so I could get better clearance was I moved the clamp more inboard on the bottle tray so that I have easier access to both of these. We almost forgot the inside, so let me get a tack on that. So how to use a clamp, because you got to somehow manipulate this to close up a little bit for you. I already put a tack in the front, no big deal. You already seen it on the other side. So I'm just trying to make all these match so you have an open corner joint the way you're supposed to, per the way instructions say. And sometimes it needs a little precision. Alright guys, I had to put myself in a more comfortable position. I'm trying to work with this camera like right in the way and I just can't do it. So I took everything off, put it on the table, and let's get this tacked up again. So there you go, just a tack on the back. That is complete for now. What we're going to want to do next is fit the brace right there on the bottom. So it might help if I remember I have to tack it here and tack it here. I don't need to put the clamp on it because it's already tight. It's already a tight fit there. And once I tack it, it's going to shrink it even more. So get a tack on that. And there you go. Alright, so here you turn it upside down. This reinforcement plate, the one that goes across, your bottle sit on the other side. So this being a 1/4 inch thick is going to help you support the bottles while the wheels are on it. Goes in. not as easy as it looks. But it's not hard either, so technically, gotta massage it. There you go, one down. Now you're going to have to use a square to line these up because these are really loose before you tack them on there. But as long as you can get them, you can set them in there just for the meanwhile while you're going to tack that on. Alright, so as long as you got those on there, you're good. And then you might want to, make sure you can see that. You want to make sure the gap closes up on those ends. So, you can also put this on the end of it. Okay, so directions state that before you weld that brace on there, you need to check the plate and make sure that it fits the toolbox. So I'm going to have to empty out the toolbox, move the TIG in the cooler, and then come back to this and make sure it fits, and if everything's good, then we can put the brace on it and keep going. Alright, so here we are at the mock-up stage. The toolbox is laying on its side. I ended up moving my swivel casters to the front, as you can see right there, because they were in the back. So you want to move, if you have swivel casters, you want to make sure that they are in front of the unit, opposite from the ZTfab bottle holder, because the wheels that are going on the back are stationary, and if you put the stationary ones in the front, you're never going to be able to move it around. So it's all tacked up just as we did a minute ago. Everything fits fine here. They do give you supplies to drill a hole and put your little pieces in there. I'm actually going to use rib nuts, and I'll be showing you how to do that when we get there. But for right now, I'm assuming you have to put all this together, put it on, make sure that all your holes line up where they're supposed to, which they do, and here they do, and then once you know that's good, you can go ahead and tack these out on the bottom and get that rolling. That way you can weld your studs on for your wheels, and then that's going to complete that, and it'll be ready for paint. Get that going and get it all bolted up, and then get the bottle and the rod holders that go right here. I believe these are already pre-drilled for that, but you're still going to have to put one on the bottom. I'm going to use rib nuts for that also. I'll show you that when we get to that part. But this is done. It fits, it's good. Let's go ahead and finish welding it out. Okay, so now I have a full table, because obviously the cart is gone, the toolbox. So I have the welder and the cooler on top of my TIG table. Okay, so now that we already validated that everything fits up and lines up correctly, now what we're going to do is we're going to put a tack here, a tack here, a tack here, so that's going to be 3, and then a tack here, and a tack here, approximately 2 inches long for each tack. I didn't say in the beginning, it doesn't matter if you TIG weld this, stick weld it, MIG weld it, whatever welding you got, it works. Some are prettier than others, some are not. Some, you know, it all depends on you and how you want to do it. It's not rocket science to put this together. It's super easy. And I have a TIG welder, so that's why I'm using a TIG welder. So another thing on this, I'm not sure if you can tell. Yeah, you can see there's a gap between that brace and the floor of the bottle pan. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm going to TIG weld it, I am going to put a clamp on it so that I can take that gap out of it and put the metals together. And so what I'm going to use is a clamp, maybe just a little bit longer one. Let me see if I got one. I know I got one. Here we go. We'll use this baby right here. Tighten that up. Now I'm sure a lot of people don't have any deep clamps like this. Doesn't really matter. There's a lot of ways you can do things to make things work, but this is what I got, so that's why I'm using it. It just makes it so much easier. You see that? The gaps are gone. Both sides. Okay, let me get set up and we'll start tacking this. Alright, so the bottom's done. They're all approximately 2 inches long. There you go. That's just the bottom support plate. Now we'll get to the others. Alright, so now that we got the underside done, I'm going to come back here on the sides and fill these. I mean, this is already a 1/2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and fill it all the way down, and on this one I'm going to come all the way up on it also. That's all it needs for this side. You don't have to do in here or anything like that. And then that'll complete this and complete this part. So I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to take it all the way through just so it's from start to end instead of being just little tacks on there. Place we're going to weld is one here, one here, one here, just maybe a 1/2 inch tack, one here, and one here, and you can see how it's not, oops, sorry, you can see how it's not really touching. There's a gap in it, so a problem like that, what are you going to call? Call for your vise. And there you go. Now it's closed. And so then I can just run a bead right here, and I'll run a bead here, and I'll run a bead in the back. That'll be complete. The 2 back sides for here on the mount brace is complete. Corner here, both sides complete. And then bottom brace complete. And then all we have to do, it's not required and you do not have to, but I'm going to run my TIG all down the edge of the open corner joint. So this is really the last thing to be done, and then the open corner joint is optional if you want to do that. Okay, so when you do your welds, ZTfab wants you to put a weld here and to put a weld on the back side of it. I'm going to put a small weld there, and I'm going to put a small weld in the front, and then I'm going to put a long weld all the way across the top. that's just doing it my way. ZTfab just wants those two. Technically, you're supposed to put a tack weld here and put a tack weld here from the side brace to the bottle pan. But because I'm going to weld all outside of the corner joints, it's going to be strong enough that I don't have to put the tack welds on the inside of the plates. But technically, that's where ZTfab wants you to put them. I'm just doing mine a little different. So that completes the welding for the actual unit itself, the whole pan. Technically it's done, but like I said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do all the corner joints. I'm going to let this cool for a bit. We'll come back to it. So now comes where you have to put the wheels on. First thing you have to do is get your stud, put it in place. There's going to be a little bit that's going to stick out. There's only one video as far as I know right now on YouTube that does not show any directions on how to do this, but there is a build on this. I'm not sure if maybe they put it flat or flush, or they had it out a little bit. What I did was I put the cotter pin in, I put the washers in, then you can see just how much is sticking out. So I marked it with a Sharpie right around there, and what I'm going to do is when I go to set the angle on the pin to make sure it's straight, I'm going to make sure that much is sticking out. That way when I put the wheel together, there's not that much play left to right on it. It's not going to matter because it's not like you're pushing this thing down for a mile down the road or something. It's just moving maybe every few feet from wherever you're going to be moving around the shop or whatever. I'm just being anal about it and getting it with close tolerances, I guess you'd say. So that's how much I have sticking out. That's how much is going to stick out, and then I'm just going to TIG around that and go from there. So let me get everything set up and I'll show you how that goes. Alright, let's have a look at what I did here. For right now, I have a tack right on the top. It's very small. Okay? So, I also have this thing as level as can be. No matter where it is on the tray, it's square. Okay, so we know the tray itself is square. So I get my little angle square bracket and I brace it to the side. The reason I do that is because this side right here kind of goes inward. It's not perfectly straight up and down. There is a little bit of curvature to it. So what I have to do now, and the reason I'm saying that is because, let me turn this light off. The reason I'm saying that is because if you put a square like this, and then you put a square like this, it's not going to be right. This is going to go upwards, and then your wheels, instead of being straight, they're going to be cocked like that, because this is not perfectly square. So with the little tack on there, now I can tack this up some, or take the rubber band off now, as a matter of fact. And technically put this on top. I'm going to need both hands, so I'll have to put this back on the stand. And then I'll make sure that that stud is coming out perfectly square. So let me get this back on the stand and then we'll go from there. Alright, so there we go. Now, because we know that the shelf itself, bottle stand, is square, all we got to do is get the bubble square on the top. And that's going to make it right where it's supposed to be. So let me get everything ready and then we'll do our final tack. Alright, so I got 2 tacks on it. I believe it's as straight as it's going to get. What we're going to do is we're going to put a washer. There's also a sleeve that goes into these wheels. You got to put them in. You got that. You got another washer. And you got your big cotter pin. That's barely any wiggle room. Barely at all, which is why I wanted to make sure I had a close tolerance on it. So, with that being said, you can actually see that wheel is perpendicular to the bottle tray. Just like it's supposed to be. I'm sure there's many different ways to do this, but this is the way I'm doing it because I find it easier to do it this way for the fact that this piece isn't exactly square straight up and down. Alright, let's do the other side. Okay, so same thing again for setting this up. All we're going to do is pre-fit everything again. I'm going to make sure the tolerances are a little tight. I didn't realize that there's actually going to be a little bit of play in this anyway because of this sleeve. So either way, I'm still going to do it the same way I did the other side. So what you saw on the other side, I'm going to do exactly again on this side, so there's no reason to have to show you all that setup again. I'll show you when I'm done. Alright, so that's how it looks welded from the inside just for the shaft. You want to make sure you get plenty of material on that because there's going to be a lot of weight on it. Alright, and this is the other side. So that's pretty thick. That's going to hold. Okay, so I have the bottle pan here and I'm going to mount it to the toolbox so that I can set the top bottle rack and tungsten holder where it needs to be. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and mount it, and then when I get it mounted I'll put the wheels on there, I'll stand it up, and then and it's only the 8 bolts, so it's nothing you really need to see, it's common sense stuff. And then once I mount it, I'll stand it back up, I'll put the ball on there, and I'll show you how to measure it out. Okay, so once you get it mounted, underneath there's actually some adjustability. You can slide this up and down a little bit. When you're actually tightening it down, make sure that it's slid down to where the whole back brace is up against the toolbox and it's not pushed more forward up. That's going to be the correct way to mount it. And then you can make your little marks so that you can put some rib nuts or the supplied material that ZTfab gives you. Let me get the wheels on. Alright, so here's what it looks like with the bottle tray on. Fits just like it's supposed to. And then I don't know if you can really see how I've made my clearances real tight on the stud for the wheels so that they're just not kind of wobbly. They're not really even going to be wobbly, but that's just the way I did it. Alright, so let me get my bottle and then we'll figure out this top rack real quick. Okay, so now that it's time to put the top bottle rack holder on there, there are 2 holes that are already on this toolbox. 2 that are empty and 2 that have rib nuts. And they're pretty much right next to each other. What you want to do is, yeah, you can see them right there. What you want to do is, you want to get your bottle rack leveled between these 2 holes. And just because this is a China made toolbox, I measured from the rib nut to the top and the rib nut to the top, and it was actually where it was supposed to be, so it is measured out correctly. So I measured it to be perfectly centered on the box. That way when the bottle's sitting on the bottle tray, it's going to be centered also. So let me get this set up real quick. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is get your rack, and I already marked it out with welders ceramic pipeline style chalk. You can use a paint pen or whatever, but if you use a paint pen it's going to stay on there. So what I'm going to do is get it right on the line that I made, and then I'm going to mark it where I'm going to put my hole for my rib nut. And you want to try to get it as centered as you can. That's all you're going to need. Now, I was 2 hands. I'm going to make sure I got it right where it's supposed to be. And it is. So you can see right here, there's one mark, there's the other, there's the other, there's the other. And I'm going to use 1/4 by 20 rib nuts. Alright, so that's just pre-drilled with a small pilot bit. That's just to get the holes in there. So this is a rib nut kit. If you want to see the video on this, go through my video library. You'll be able to see the review on this. Then here's your rib nut. This one's going to be 1/4 by 20, I believe. Yeah, the bag's outside. It's a 1/4 by 20. So now the next best thing you're going to do is you're going to find the bit that works for this, and you want it as close and as tight to the same size that you can get with the bit. So let me get those drilled, and then I'll show you how this thing works. Alright, so that's what it's supposed to look like right there. Now the only thing I need to do is pull the bottle tray off, put a rib nut in that hole right there where it's already marked, and then I'll be able to bolt that up correctly. So this is it. It's complete. I do have a couple of holders to put on the side, or I may put them in the front. I don't know yet. Those are super easy. I might videotape that, I might not. It's not really a big deal. And let's get this finished up. Alright, so once you get all your rib nuts in, you're going to have 2 for the top, 2 for the bottom on the rod and bottle holder, and then for your feet of the bottle tray, you're going to have the 2. And that's the love of owning a rib nut tool. You can do cool stuff like this. Like I said, ZTfab gives you some accessories. I just think these are better, and I already had the tool, so that's what I'm going to use. Alright, let's get this thing put together. Alright, so I cleaned these up as much as I could, getting them ready for paint. These don't have to be completely rust free. I'll tell you why later. Like I said, the longer you leave this exposed to open element, the faster they rust, and the more cleaning you're going to do before you actually have to paint it. So this one's on me, learned a lesson, but I'm sure that would happen with any other kit. Alright, let's get to painting. We are officially done, people. Look at the beauty of that. So what I didn't tell you in my last video when I was getting this stuff prepped up, isn't that beautiful? But you know what? I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, man, why would you put all the time and effort and try to make your stuff look so pretty or whatever? Well, you know, most people are using this for their shop. They could give 2 cents if it rusts or looks bad. The whole object of the idea is for it to do its job. Hold your bottle, hold your TIG rods, the other pieces that connect to the toolbox. Well, I like my stuff to look good. It's not really like showboating, but I like to look at stuff that looks good, especially when it's my equipment. Hello. Didn't know if you noticed or not. But anyways, what I didn't tell you in the last video was this awesome paint job you see is actually Rust-Oleum paint. Now I won't take credit for this because I've stolen so many formulas off of YouTube, and I think that I believe that I have mastered spraying Rust-Oleum. This is not spray can Rust-Oleum. This is the ones you buy in the quart and in the gallons. You have to mix it with acetone, and then you have to mix it with hardener. It's kind of, you know, it is what it is. You can see the shine in that. But I've got it down and it works, which I don't know if you've seen my other videos. This is Rust-Oleum, and no, I'm not on a white trip. Well, maybe I am. Let me show you why. Because I also built a custom engine stand, transmission stand, that if you want to see this, it's on my other video. And yes, I painted it white too. I built this little contraption. You can see it in the video. But anyways, I'm not on a white trip, but that's the paint I have right now. Plus, it also looks good. So anyways, back to ZTfab. ZTfab here. So let me show you the other pieces real quick. Oh yeah, in case you didn't notice, they're white too. But yeah, they came out really great. It was a lot of work sanding them down. You have to take the rust down to where there's almost no rust on them once they start to flash over when you let them sit so long. So because you're using the Rust-Oleum paint, you have to use the high performance protective enamel. They have 2 kinds. They have a regular style paint, and then there's the ones that will be all white. The whole can will be white. The high performance protective enamel will have the silver in the front, and it'll tell you tough rust preventative finish, and it'll tell you that you can spray over light rust, blah blah blah. You can do the research on that. There's a million videos on it. But this stuff is pretty durable. I could have sprayed it with a single stage paint. There was no need for that. This is just a project. Something fun to do, something fun to build. Plus it's going to work great for the Everlast 255 TIG and the water cooler. So I tell you what, let's start putting this together and see what happens. Alright, so let me show you something real quick. ZTfab gives you all the fasteners you need. So you're going to have your installation fasteners. Comes with your nuts, your bolts, all your fasteners. These are your, this is a different kind of rib nut. I don't even know if these are even called rib nuts, but you already seen how I put mine on the side. I used a different tool for that. Sheet metal screws, everything you need. This is the only thing I'm going to be using is the chains. This stuff I'm not going to use. On my TIG welder and my cooler, these are stainless Allen head bolts. This is what I'm going to use, and it's mainly for aesthetics reason. It's not for being stronger or any other reason. So I'm going to end up using these for the bottle tray and the side support that also holds the rod holders, TIG rod holders. And if you go back and watch my video on the TIG and water cooler build, when I use these, I also polished them to where they look like chrome. They came out on the cooler like that also. So I'm going to do the same thing with these. And then once I'm done polishing these up, then I'll start assembling the toolbox. So let's get started with that. Alright, so here's what we look like now, which are just natural finished. Alright, so here's the difference. I polished these 6 here. This one's not polished. I'm pretty sure you can kind of see the difference. But anyways, so I polished those up. We're going to go on the braces, 4, and then the 2 on the bottom where I put the rib nuts. And that's it. Let's put it together. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the rear wheels off, and we'll install the bottle plate to the bottom, and we'll go from there. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to set up the bottle plate first from the top, put the 2 screws in just to hold it in place, and then what you want to do is put the screws in on the bottom where the wheels used to go. That's where it's going to bolt up to the plate. So you don't even want to tighten this down, it's just to hold it in place. So I'll screw these down about 3/4 of the way, that way there's a 1/4 left of thread sticking out, and it gives it enough room to move around to get all the screws in the back underneath. Alright, so now you can see the holes clearly. Let's get some nuts on there. Okay, so when you put your bolts back in, just use the factory bolts that came with the US General, and just put those back in. Tighten all 4 of these up, and then when you're done with that, then you can come up here to the front and you can tighten both of those up. Alright, so once that's done, that's what you're going to look like. Alright, let's get the rest of these put together. We'll get the wheels on next. Alright, so included with the kit, you're going to have 2 wheels, obviously. They're going to have grease zerks in them. The other side does not. This you want to make the outside of your wheel, because if you ever want to grease them, then it's going to be right there in easy access. Alright, comes with 2 sleeves. They go inside. Slide them through. Simple as that. Grab your other sleeve. Slide it through. Simple as that. Then you have 4 washers. 2 for each wheel. One's going to go on the outside. One's going to go on the inside. 2 cotter pins. 1 for each wheel. Just get them mounted up. Alright, just so you get a good view, You get one washer, put it in, get your wheel, greaser out, slide it on. Be careful this doesn't slide out. Push back in whatever slides out. Get your washer, slide it on. Technically you want to use some needle nose or something to bend this out, but just to give you an example. That's all you need. It's done right there. Same way on the other side. Alright, let's get this baby standing up. Well, I tell you what, that white sure does pop, because it is bright. So, let's get the rod holder, bottle line piece, whatever you want to call it there. And man, all you see is the white, you don't even see the toolbox. Huh. Alright, let's get that going. Okay, so remember when you put this on, there is a right way and there's a wrong way. You can see the slant on the bottom, that goes to the bottom, and the flat horizontal part on the top goes to the top. Alright, let's get some stuff hooked on this. Alright, this is what it looks like with the rod holders. On my rods, I have the stainless steel, aluminum, 4043, aluminum 5356, carbon steel 70S2, and this goes to 308L. I keep the 1/16, 3/32, and 1/8 rods in each one. So you got 3 different sizes in each one. And let me show you, with these just 4 right here, let me show you how many other tubes I used to have laying around. And all of these right here, and I'm still missing like 6 other tubes. It's a lot of tubes to have laying around. And remember, I'm still missing 6 tubes, and I've got everything contained in here. All 3 different sizes. Alright, so let me get this thing completely put together, and then we'll do the reveal completed. Okay, so there's no right way or wrong way to have these. Most people usually have them like this. But I'm not keeping them like this because I'm going to put my hose hangers in the front. Right there. So I'm going to have to change the machine facing forward. Alright, so right here I'm going to show you how you put in the rib nuts and hang the hangers. And I'm basically going to fast forward it from here so that you can just get an idea, so it makes it easier for you to understand how to do this yourself, because it's very easy. Okay, so the very last thing we have to do here is, most people would leave this bare or whatever and just put your bottle on top of it and be done with it. I don't want mine all scratched up. I didn't do all this work to it to have a scratched up looking bottle floor. And being white, it's going to look worse. So I have this stuff that's called neoprene. They use it in airplanes, they use it in cars, they use it to basically kill noise. But it's real thin. It's only like I don't know, about 125 thousandths thick. It's not very thick. But I'm going to use it to lay down as a flooring. I thought about using a piece of wood. I don't need that. I just need that little piece of foam. Put the bottle on top, tie it down. I'll get another bottle later. I only have one bottle now. And I'll show you how to cut that off, put it in there, and we will officially be done. Alright, so I did my measurement. You can actually, I'm pretty sure this is pretty square. You can actually take your measurement from here to here and from here to here and then cut your square. But if you want to be exact, then just make a template with paper. And that alone will make sure that it's the exact size it's supposed to be. And you'll be able to cut a perfect square out of this. So let's get that rolling. Alright, so this is what neoprene looks like. It's got like an open foamy side to it. This is the side you would normally spray your adhesive glue on and then stick it to whatever you're going to stick it to. And then the front side is a nice, clear, smooth side. So it's good stuff. I haven't been able to find any more of it to buy some. It works really great on the cars for noise reduction, especially when you use it with Dynamat. That's a whole nother story though. So I cut it out already. What we're going to do is we're going to put the good side. Remember, this is the glue side. This is the good side. We're going to place it in here. And obviously, it was a success. So, that's what it looks like with the neoprene. So that'll keep all the scratches out and the bottle damaging the floor, the paint. Really, the paint's going to damage the floor. But that's going to be great for the both bottles. Let me get the bottle on it, and then we'll close this out.